Buenos días, buenos días. If people are gonna get notified that we are live, because I want to have a conversation with people about what is going on in South Texas. It's really weird how people react to different topics or to different people. Good morning, Irasema. Um, on live chats or on videos on the internet. It's like, hi, Irasema. I'm going to talk about, can Bible thumpers stay neutral? Um, One of these Bible thumpers, Irasema, that I got on one of my videos that I did either yesterday or I think it was yesterday morning, is apparently a silent viewer of different platforms, not just of mine or Peacocks United or Yaya's or the Tea Talkers. Just in general, there are people that decide that they want to be silent viewers, and they just watch every show on everybody, and I can understand that it's probably because they're at home and no tenemos nada mejor que hacer. We don't have nothing better to do. Hi, Scarlett. So when we're at home with nothing better to do and we start getting into the internet, we start looking at different shows. And thanks, Scarlett. And we listen, and sometimes we don't want to put comments, because when we do comments, then you get reactions. Of course, I took off the reactions here because I don't need to see no little emojis floating around that are laughing or whatever. I just don't need to see it. But I do watch different shows, just certain people. I like to watch NJ Slots. I would like to watch Mr. Handpay. I have other things that I watch because they're doing something that I like. They're not just on the internet. Hi, Quantum. Good morning, Gloria. But when you get stirred up enough to go and make a comment on a video like with somebody like me, I'm like my sister, but I don't say the bad words, okay? And I think like my sister just as quick. So when you come and make a comment like, people shouldn't laugh at what's going on with certain people from South Texas that are homeless, let me tell you that there is a lot of homeless people in the United States, and nobody is laughing at their situation. And why are we so hard on people here in South Texas? Because here in Raymondville, and I'm just going to talk about what's happening here in Raymondville, okay? In Raymondville, Texas, a couple of years back, we had a homeless man that would be under the bridge, the main bridge being on 186 and 69, right in the corner of Valero McDonald's and Via Valero on the other side. And he was there for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. Just everybody would give him drinks because in the summer it would get hot. So he had a line of drinks and he would get money from people and stuff. Yes, there are resources, but this man stayed in that corner. And he had a little sign that he was a veteran, but we don't know where he came from. because all of a sudden he popped up on that bridge, okay? So he was homeless under the bridge. Did I laugh at him? No. Did I ever make a video about him? No. But when he passed away, and he did pass away, pobrecito, he was up there in the age, and of course we all know that one of these days Hades or St. Peter is going to come for us. I don't know which one came for this old man, but he did come for him because it was his timeline. And he passed away behind the laundromat, and his little cart was there. Well, when the police went through his cart, he had a coffee can. In the coffee can, he had over $10,000. Nobody was messing with this man for the year and a half that he stayed under the bridge. He stayed there, and nobody messed with him. They gave him drinks. They would give him tacos from the Valero and stuff, and nobody messed with him. And then the police went through his things because he passed away, and he had over 10 grand in his cart. So he was not penniless. He was homeless by choice. Right now we have another one that parks there, and I'm here through the grapevine that he is from Portmansville, and he has money, but he wants to be under the bridge asking for money. That's by choice. These people sometimes, that's right, Mark Sears, no one cares. It's not that no one cares. They see him there and they care enough. They care enough. If it's a super hot day here in South Texas, they are going to give him a drink. They're going to give him they'll buy a tea from McDonald's, or they'll go to Valero and buy him a water, or sometimes they'll get beers. They do care enough. There is people that care enough. But don't Bible thump on me and tell me that I shouldn't be laughing at somebody's situation because I decided to do a video about the situation that's going on with all these shows that are making money off of some homeless couple that chose to be homeless because they didn't want to get rid of 17 dogs. By state law, any person, even if you have a house, you shouldn't have more than 5 pets, much less 17. It's like, but you're going to Bible thump on me because you think that I'm not like my sister Ophelia. And my sister already cussed this person out yesterday. But we don't know, of course, who this person is, Iracema. We don't know who this person is. That's right. Elon Musk donates money all the time for homelessness. But why should one citizen be the only one donating to these homeless people that choose to be there because they have homes? And it's like, come on now. You're going to be Bible thumping on me and telling me that I'm laughing at somebody's situation? No, I'm not. Because you know what? I haven't worked for 2 years, but that does not make me homeless. At 40, I decided to buy this house when I was 40. I'm 60 now. I've had this house in Raymondville for more than 20 years. And I've continued to pay my taxes every year. And I have struggled sometimes. And these past 2 years, I haven't had a job, but I still have a house and I still have light, obviously. But when you choose things and other people are talking about it, laughing about it, and then you're going to decide that I'm from South Texas, Marky. Then you're going to decide that I'm laughing at that person. I'm not laughing at that person. But who in their right mind is going to hear their daughter telling them, you can stay here, but get rid of the dogs, and you choose not to stay there? You tell me if that person is thinking with their 5 senses. 17 dogs in a car? You know, I'm not laughing at anybody's situation, but don't come and Bible thump to me and tell me that Jesus said that you should love your neighbor when you're Bible thumping, but you're not opening your door to that person. And obviously, you probably know that person because I don't. All I know is I was repeating a story on my little 10-minute chat that I had. And Texas, I'm from Texas. Oh, you're in New York? It's cold over there. Oh, not right now. So, it's like you need to realize that this person chose that. Just like the people that chose to give her a platform for 3 hours chose to let her ill speak of her child that had her living there until she got evicted because of the animals. She got evicted and she had to find another house to live in. And even after she got evicted, she still was giving her and her man the opportunity to stay in their garage that they were going to have in the new house, but without the dogs, because most home owners that rent homes or apartments don't want you to have dogs in there. Do you know how hard it is to take the urine smell out of an apartment or a house? Especially when you don't want to clean after these animals. The daughter was having it hard. Can you imagine if there was any fights between the new boyfriend or the boyfriend that she's been with for 15 years and their dad, their real dad that lived with them? That's right, Irasema. You're entitled to your opinion, just like I was entitled to say that both platforms gave each of them the right to voice out their opinion, because if you become a silo for anything and anyone and you're just keeping it all inside, you're gonna eventually, hi Fugly, you're gonna eventually explode. And the mother was allowed to explode for 3 hours. But she wasn't just exploding, she was downing the kid and one-sided downing. She never told anybody that she was not financially helping her daughter with anything in that household. Maybe she was getting food stamps, I don't know. But as far as the daughter is concerned, the daughter was paying rent, the daughter was paying light, probably cable, and probably the water. I don't know, some renters include the water in the rent and some don't. So, but these are bills that everybody has every month. And, on top of that, the daughter had to put up with her calling her children that are special needs, names and everything every day on a daily. And put up with the dogs there. So now I'm putting up with a Bible thumper that's coming into my show and putting comments. And it's okay. I'm not going to take them down. They're there. But she's coming in with different emails. He has risen, Easter lilies, Jesus is Lord. These are all emails. And I told her, what's your name? Oh, I've been watching your show. I think that you have a more sensible mind than your sister Ophelia. I can't block her because she's got all these different emails. She's still going to be here. So there's no point in blocking her. I'm going to keep her there, and every opportunity that I get, I'm going to tell her, I know the way to Jesus. I know the way to heaven is through Jesus. But at the end of the day, when we all get judged, will your name be Easter lilies? Will it be He has risen? Will it be Jesus loves everybody? What will your name be in the book of life when they open it to judge you? Because my name is Angelica Moreno Gongora, and that's what everybody sees here. I have never used a funny name. I have never used a fake name. I have never used a fake image. And I sure don't expect my fake name to be in the roster when God opens the book of life to judge everybody. You can know the way to heaven. Yes, you can know the way to heaven. And the Bible does say that Jesus is the only way to heaven. But that doesn't mean that you're doing your job the way you're supposed to. You want to be judging one-sided, and you're judging one-sided because I was not ever laughing at anybody's situation. I was repeating a story without putting gravy on the tacos, without putting hot sauce on them. You know, it's like you're going to come in here on one of my shows and say, well, you know, you shouldn't be laughing at this person's situation. Well, if you're so godlike, then you need to open the door to that person. And you need to allow her into your home and wash her feet and, you know, you should wash her feet and you should allow her 17 dogs in your house. You know, her daughter and the owner of the property did not want 17 dogs there. I have 2 kennels that are 30 by 20 in the back of my yard, and I don't have any dogs in them. I had 1 goose for 9 years in my whole property, and she got killed by a possum, and I had to put up with people laughing in the internet about it. But that's okay, because that's life. It's part of life. You know, I took pictures of it, but did I post them on the internet? No, because had I posted them on the internet, everybody would have been laughing. But yet, I repeat a story that happened last week, and I get told that I am laughing at the person's situation. No, I was not the one that took the picture in the parking lot of a Target store and posted it on the internet. It doesn't matter to me how you look at it. There's homeless people with signs all the time. Then you see them at the end of the day and they're getting into nice cars. Just because you see a homeless person in the street doesn't mean that they're homeless. There's a multimillionaire living in the United States, and once a year he decides that for his vacation he's going to be a bum. And he hops on trains and he travels to different places as a bum. You know. That's right, Iracema 17. You know, at what point are you going to tell somebody enough is enough? Now, the daughter had gotten evicted from her house where she was housing her dad that was disabled and her disabled children. And yet, she still gave her mom the opportunity to live in the next home as long as she got rid of all the dogs. Chase, you don't think that I have any reason to be angry at this person for wanting me when I wasn't laughing at anybody or saying that I was laughing at the situation. I wasn't laughing, Chase, at anybody's situation. But when you hear both sides of the story, one of them was 3 hours and the next day the next one was 2 hours when the daughter was talking, and you hear the daughter saying, I love my mom. I told her she could stay and we could fix the garage for her and her partner. But she couldn't live inside the house. Probably she had been fighting with the ex-husband inside the other house. We don't know. And we don't want to go into that story. The whole thing is that the girl found another house and she still offered the mom a place to stay. They could fix it. Nothing was inside the garage. They could fix that garage and make it look like a nice little one-bedroom apartment for her mom, as long as her mom got rid of the 17 dogs. So I'm not laughing at anybody, Chase, but the anger comes from somebody saying that I was laughing when I was not. I was not even adding anything to the story except that the daughter was right in asking her mom that did not help financially for anything, but the daughter got evicted. So when the daughter found the next house, she told the mom straight up, get rid of the dogs. We can fix the garage as a one-bedroom apartment for you and your partner, but you cannot have those dogs because the renter, the property owner, doesn't want them. I'm already getting evicted because of those dogs from this place. And I have a Bible thumper telling me that I'm laughing when that was not the case. And my sister did another show and she said, I am laughing. You know. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Haya. But, that's irrelevant. Here in the United States, we have a lot of people that are not homeless because family members don't offer them somewhere to stay. They're homeless because they choose to be homeless. They're homeless because they choose to do things that they're not supposed to do, like be collecting 17 dogs. And I'm not even going to go into the drug issues. It's like, if I can say no to drugs, anybody can say no to drugs. Do you have enough balls to do it? Do you have the ovaries to say no to drugs? That's the question. And why should some family member put up with you being a drug addict in their home, and then they have to be worrying about if you're going to take away the little things, the things that you can't notice, the little things that you can go and pawn? Why should they be worrying about that? Debbie Campos, I have the mom and the dad and 6 others. And yes, they're inside cages. They're not all over the place. So, and I had a goose outside, one for 5 lots. And I wasn't here for a whole, in 2021, I wasn't here for a whole year. Nobody knew that I was not here. Because I was sending over $250 a month to my neighbor across the street. She didn't have to travel that far to come and feed my pet and to make sure that my yard was cut. I didn't have any birds at that time, but then somebody gave me 2 and they started having babies. They're cockatiels. I have a baby right now. See this one? I don't know if it's a her or a him, but this one is a month old. She had The mom and the dad had 4 eggs, but only one hatched. And I'm trying to train him. I'm feeding him. And the baby food is not cheap. It's $20 a can for baby food for birds. But yeah, it's like I already had to cut the feathers off because it's starting to fly already at a month old. I think this one is gonna be a full yellowhead cockatiel. Sometimes they're not all full yellowheads, but I think this one will be. But I mean, a lot of people ask me if I want to sell them. No, because I have grandkids that I can give them to. But, my daughter thinks that it's a lot of responsibility. But my little grandkids have chickens. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have dogs or cats. I mean, sure, you can have dogs and cats, but you gotta know that where's the limit? When are you gonna call it a limit? And there's a limit to everything if you're gonna maintain their diet. These birds eat flower seeds, canary seeds, mixed seeds, nuts, and plus I still have to buy the little stones that go on the side that have minerals and vitamins and stuff. It's not just have 17 animals. You got to take care of them. And it's like you got to clean up after them. When it was cold, I had brought my goose inside the house. I After 3 days and the cold left, I had to take her out because why? The goose was throwing water everywhere and it was smelling sour. Even though I had under the dog cage, I had a big plastic so my wood floor wouldn't get damaged. I still had to clean everything after I took her out so the smell could go away. So it's like, can you imagine having 17 and not cleaning because she was not helping? And even if you're going to live with somebody, they allow you to stay there. They allow you to stay at their house, but you're not going to clean after yourself. You're not going to cook for yourself. You're not going to wash the dishes. You're not going to do nothing. So they're going to allow you to live in their house and they're going to be the maid for you. It is a lot of responsibilities, Gloria Flores. It is. These pets have cost me a lot because they're cheap louse. They'll look at me crazy if I don't put everything in the little seed box. And they want to see flower seeds in there. They want to see the little pile of canary seeds and the mixed seeds. And I have to make sure that they're separate. And then they still look at me and start chirping if I don't put pretzels. So it's like, it's not just, it's kind of pleasing them. I don't know. I guess they like the salt on the pretzels, but it's expensive. So can you imagine having 17 dogs that you have to give the little pill for the fleas? Those little pills are expensive. If you don't want to have them with ticks and fleas. Even if you just gave them that and you're just giving them the scraps off of the table. My goose, I would cook 1 cup of rice a day for that goose. Plus, if there was scraps on my table, I would put them in there. Extra bread or, anything that I left, it would go into the goose rice. But, it's like, for somebody to tell me that I was laughing at the situation, no. I'm not laughing at anybody's situation. I haven't worked for 2 years because of something that happened on the internet. I'm not laughing at anybody. It's a good thing that I had the financial means to be home without working for 2 years. I have never gone on the internet and told anybody to help me. There's been a few people that have held my back and been there for the last 2 years with me. And I thank them. Whatever they send me goes into my gas tank. But for somebody to say that I was laughing and that I have a more sensible mind than my sister, hi Paoriales Unidos, than my sister Ofelia. Ofelia was cussing this person out yesterday. We don't know who this person is. When you use a fake name, we don't know who you are. And frankly, I don't care who you are. But since you're such a Bible thumper, at the end of your life, and whenever God decides that it's time to judge all of us, I hope that the name on that book of life is not He Has Risen, or Easter lilies, or I love Jesus. Because you know what? All of us love Jesus. All of us know that Jesus is the way to heaven. And sometimes we frankly don't need a Bible thumper to throw that in our face, because when you're sitting in that church looking at what your neighbor is wearing, you're judging, and you're not here to judge. Even inside the church, you're not here to judge. And why am I telling you that? Because I was raised in the pews of the Pentecostal church. And people don't care. When you're inside the church, they want to see what you're wearing. Well, if I have to go back to church, I'm going to be wearing my Calvin Klein dresses, and I'm going to be wearing my high heels that match, and I'm going to be wearing my hats that match. And I have things that go like if I was going to a Southern Baptist church. But if I do that in a Hispanic church, all them people are going to forget that they're Christians. And they're going to criticize me for going into the church with a hat that matched my dress. It's like, that's being hypocritical. But they're going to do it inside the church. So don't tell me that I'm laughing at somebody when I'm not. And I'm not even adding gravy to the tacos. Girl, those squirrels are gonna tear up your attic. They find ways to get into your attic, and they're gonna tear up your electric wires and everything. Those squirrels are bad. Yes, that person has been laughing for years, but for years the daughter was putting up with her. I don't know how many months or years she lived with the daughter inside the daughter's house. It was time for her daughter to put her foot down because her kids were suffering it out. Yesterday I was having a conversation with my sister, not Ophelia, and she was like, well, that's one of the reasons that you don't live with your daughter. And I'm like, exactly. My ex-husband had gotten so bad with his medical pills and drug use that he was at one point homeless. And my daughter picked up the phone and called me. I was already living away from that area because I had put up with him for 6 years after the divorce. He would go and cause static at his parents' house, and I would have to go and solve the issue. And, he was usually the issue. And the issue was always about money. He needed money for this, or he needed money for that. And the old couple, his dad and his stepmother, were already old. And I would have to go, and you wouldn't know this story if I didn't tell you. So if you repeat it on another show, it's the truth. His parents would get tired of him knocking on their windows and stuff, and they would call me. Until I got tired of it, and at 40, I had divorced him at 34. And at 40, I decided to move away from the area because enough was enough. My daughter stayed behind because she was going to college, and my daughter was not going to leave her elderly grandparents there by themselves, even though we had separate houses. So I left her in my house that I got through the divorce, and she stayed in that house. And I told her when I left her in there, you're not paying rent. You will have to be responsible for the light, the water, and the gas in this house. You will have to be responsible for the taxes at the end of the year.